Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hello to the Dookies Institute community. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening in our first
talk show.
Yes.
Our Family Talk Live.
Yes. So we've called it our show, which we plan to do on Mondays, Monday evenings, 5 o'clock Mountain Time. Family Talk Live with the Dookies. So what this means is that you got to plan to tune in with us every Monday evening because we're going to be talking about issues related to family life.
Family life, especially in couples relationship, parental relationship. So we are going to be covering the major or the issues that families are dealing with. And not only talking about them, but providing practical tips, bit bites that families and couples or parents can use to enhance and help them in their journey. And I think I'm excited to do it because we have some good stuff.
We do.
To share.
We do. But before we continue, for those who are just joining us, let us know you're here. This is the time when we want you to come in with your comments. Let us know where you're joining us from. And this is an engaging discussion we're having. If you have questions, if you have just a line or something that you just thought that popped up for you that you want to share with the rest of the community, please do so. We would really appreciate that because that's what we want. Let's introduce ourselves. So do you want to go first?
I am Courtney Dookie, or Dr. Dookie, as they call me. I'm a registered provisional psychologist, mind coach, and couples relationship coach. I enjoy working with couples, and that's a passion I have, is to help couples to live a more fulfilled, a more happy, satisfying life. So that's a passion of mine to work with couples. So in my private practice or in workshops or seminars or even in this this live show we're doing, it's a passion of mine to work with couples.
Yes. And just a list, one day we are actually going to be featuring ourselves on this show. We'll just be talking about our history, where we're from, how we met, what our family life looks like, how our history impacts, what we do today. Yes. Anyways, one day we'll do that. But for the purpose of this, community, just to let you guys know that my husband, he's also a trained pastor, and we pastored for some time. So this aspect of our work where we can merge helping to heal systemic dysfunction. Under the prism and the fundamental values of the scripture and God, it's just amazing. It's like cherry on top.
Yes.
Cherry on top. So for myself, I'm Sania, and I am a registered social worker, and I work as a mental health therapist. I do see general audience or population, but my area of specialization is with treating children and youth and supporting parents who are struggling to know how they can support their child or their youth who are struggling with emotional mental health disorder, complex behavior issues, and also neurodevelopmental issues. So that's really been a focus of mine. You wanted to say something?
No.
Yes, and currently I'm completing my doctoral degree in clinical psychology, and yes, my doctoral dissertation is actually on Christian parenting. So I can't wait to really to share that with you. I'm really looking forward to be able to share what that journey has been like for you. So welcome to our community. Let us know you're here and where you're joining us from. Yeah.
I see someone comment saying that I wish I wasn't at work to talk about this.
Oh, well, please watch the replay. Please watch the replay. Thank you, nevertheless, for joining us. Watch the replay, and we're here every Monday evening.
Yes.
So um, we're looking forward to hearing your feedback after you listen to the replay. So today we're actually going to be talking about love, how to show or how to love, and this love word is so common. It's thrown around
Yes.
everywhere.
It's probably one of the most, at least when it comes to special relationships, one of the most, I want to put this in quotation, abused word words that's used in terms of, I
Yeah.
love this, I love that, I love food,
Mm-hmm.
um, I love my children, I love my
Yes.
car, I love sports. So it's such a commonplace
Yes.
word,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons we are taking it on today. We might have other discussions
Mm-hmm.
around love,
Yeah.
but there's a sacredness
Yes.
to
To
this
the word
reality,
love.
to the
Yeah.
word love. And I think sometimes we've missed that sacredness,
We do.
that profoundness of what it means to love someone, or to be in love with someone,
Yeah.
to love my spouse, to love my children. Sometimes we miss the essence of what that is. And even for those who are watching,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious to hear their comments on how they've heard love spoken of, their own understanding of what love is.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to us if you have thoughts or comments about love,
Yes.
because we believe, and we're seeing it so often, that love is not, as I said, the essence, the foundation
Mm-hmm.
of love is missing in many
It's
ways.
missing. I remember when I just started dating, when we just started dating, and I brought him home, then my boyfriend, and my mom looked at me when he was gone. I don't know if you know this, but she asked me, she's like, "Do you love him?" I said, "Mommy, I just met him. What do you mean love? Love." But it really brought me to think about which we will be highlighting today. It's intention,
Yes.
intentionality. It really, that question caused me to be more intentional in
Mhm.
what I was getting into and where I wanted to go, and what I'm hoping or was hoping to accomplish in my relationship. Yeah, she asked me that. Do
Ah,
you love him? You love him? Yes. So the reason we wanted to start with love as the first topic for our first episode of Family Talk Time with the Dookies is we believe that if love is not at the foundation of a family life, if love is not there, or if love is not in the foundation of a relationship, or if it's lost somehow, or if we have a distorted view of love, then our parent child relationship can be impacted.
impacted.
So that's the reason we wanted to talk about this today.
And not only a parent-child relationship, if the marital relationship, because the home is premise
Yes.
on a healthy relationship between spouses. And if love is lacking, or if there is a misunderstanding of what love is and how to be in love with each other, how to love each other, then that can spill over into the parenting and spill over into many other aspects
Mm-hmm.
of the family life.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's establish what is love. What is love? Is it the Hollywood version? What is love? Let's hear your definition below. What? How do you define love?
Probably it is that when
Can it
I
be defined?
biblically, yes. From a
Okay.
Bible perspective, yes. But I remember when I was in my undergrad, they used to have this troublesome thing that they say, that love is a feeling that you're feeling that you've never felt before.
Uh,
So, is that really the definition
is
of what
that love?
love is? And I've heard people say love is a principle. Sometimes I get in my own mind, I wonder, what is a principle?
Mm,
um, if love is a principle, then principle sounds very cognitive, sounds very abstract
Mm-hmm.
to me. So when I hear the term used that love is a principle, I'm always baffled, because what is that principle? Can
Yeah.
it be defined? How can we understand what it is at its core?
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Bible define love as being God, the essence of who God
Yes.
is. So there can't be God without love, and there can't be love without God. That kind of a thing where the definition of love is God, and that means, in unpacking that, we're talking about graciousness, kindness, compassion, love, commitment,
Mm-hmm.
dedication, forgiveness. All these pieces are things, different attributes
Yes.
that God possesses, are attributes that God gives to us.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think of a definition for love, love must entail all these things. Love is patient, it's kind, it's genuine, it's compassionate,
Yes.
it seeks to understand, it's long suffering. So there are other adjectives we can use to describe love, but can't really define
Mm-hmm.
what love is. As someone would
Can we
say,
define what
you
love
have to
is?
be in love to be able to define love.
Well, I was told that love in a marriage, guys, I was told that love in a marriage eventually dies away. Yes, I was told that as a young person getting married. It's not just
That's
about
scary.
love, Sanya, because it will die away. Um, and
But the
you
thing,
won't feel that anymore.
I still love you, and it's like
And I still love you too.
16 years. So
Yeah.
with more time, that might happen. But
I don't know. I don't know. So that's why I wanted to talk about this today. Love in the marriage and how it portrays in our family life with our children. I know many individuals grow up in a home where if something should happen to a member of that family, the whole family will rally around them and protect
yes,
them. But they never really heard "I love you" or never really felt love,
hmm
right? It's more of a role, not a connection. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but when it comes to defining love or being able to say how do you know your family loves you? It's kind of hard to say because the affection is not there. And I think this is just really just going to bring us into our next segment is I didn't feel love in my family because we were always at each other's throats. And I'm talking about Christian families here, right? Because that's what we're about, restoring Christian family life. We're always at each other's throats, or we don't usually do things for each other, or it's every man for himself in the home. Things like that. It's always quick to rebuke, quick to criticize, and then, we if we're asked, you love your family? Of course I do. Of course I do.
in some way, love is an experience. That's if I should break it down, it's an experience. Um, an experience that empowers me, an experience in which I am empowered, an experience in which the other person that I say I love, I empower them.
Mm,
So there is a level of subjectivity to love. And I think sometimes what happened, we try to pull or to separate the objective and the subjective aspects of love.
yeah.
When I say objective and subjective, and that's where the definition, it is a principle. You do it nonetheless. This is what I do. This is how we do it. So it becomes this kind of an objective thing,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to take out the subjective experience out of
Yeah.
it. So when I look at a definition for love, it has to take in both aspects, both
Mm-hmm.
the subjective, which is the experience, but it
Mm-hmm.
also take into account the objective, that even when there are times when I might not feel like doing something, but I know that I love the person, I know that I love my children, I love my spouse, I
Yes.
will do it nonetheless. So again, that's the objective. but also I need to talk about the subjective aspect of it, and I think that's
Mhm.
crucial when we try to understand, this idea of how to love.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we're going to know the how to love, we have to figure out the realness, what it is at its core.
Yes. So I'm going to read that scripture, that Bible verse that you alluded to earlier. Um, it's taken from First Corinthians chapter 13, and it says, "Love is patient."
Mhm.
So as I'm reading this, just picture in your mind, does this exist in our home? And remember earlier, Dr. Dookie mentioned that love is God. God is love, love is God, and He's all of these attributes. And if, as Christians, we have a relationship with Him, that relationship that we have with Him should be spilling over
Into.
into the dynamic of our family life. So, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no
Mhm.
record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but, and then it goes on there. So this is, I believe, it's the a functional aspect of love that Scripture was able to highlight
Highlight.
here for us.
And what that tells me, those attributes you described there in the text, it tells me that love is something that if we're going to experience love in
Yes.
our homes, if we're going to experience love, parent-child relationship, spousal relationship, there needs to be some deliberate effort in creating that environment, a mindset. In my own way, I call it a mindset shift,
Mm-hmm.
because we have to look at the environment and how to create that environment, the environment in which we can nurture the experiences we have with people. So in order to understand love, and even going back to what you alluded to, Sanya, when you said that someone told you that love eventually dies,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I struggle with that. Why? Because love depends on the environment I create.
Mm-hmm.
A great part of what it means to be in love and to love each other has to do with the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean that people are perfect? No, it's
No.
not a perfect. We're not perfect, but we choose how we create that environment and what we put in the environment and how we work with each other in that environment. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the fundamental things that I believe that creates this idea, apart from God, for first and foremost in the family, apart from that foundation, the essence of who God is within our marriage and within our family, within our parenting, I think creating an environment with there'll be 4 or 5 things I think about when I think about an environment. One, an environment in which people feel like they can be heard.
Mm-hmm.
There is almost an empathetic
Mm-hmm.
environment
Mm-hmm.
in which I know I can express myself
Mm-hmm.
in that environment, even if I am wrong. My views, my opinions, my
Yes.
thoughts
Are
are
validated.
validated.
Yeah.
And I think that's key in creating a key component in creating this environment where love can flourish and grow. Because in an empathetic environment, it means I'm free to be me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And love
Yes.
cannot be
Yeah.
if there is no freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Love dictates freedom. So I must be free to express, and not only express myself, to have the confidence that when I express myself, I will be heard. So I think an empathetic environment is a one of the primary pillars, if you want to call that, the primary pillars of creating an environment in which we know how to love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So love is much more than an abstract term or a concept. We're
It is.
seeing where we have to be intentional about applying our love. And that is through creating an environment that is empathetic, validating, creating an environment where people are, when they make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
they don't
Yes.
see it as, oh my gosh, I'm done. It's more of a, okay, I made a mistake, let's reconcile, let's work through this together. And I'm just this, man, this is can be hard to talk about depending on the situation of the family. But just talking about a marital relationship, what would that look like? Or for a parent-child relationship, for a teen, for a teenager, when they make a mistake, do they feel they can come home
Mm-hmm.
and safely work through that mistake with their parents? Or do they have to run away and go to peers because they know at home they they will get it?
Get it.
And as a Christian family, these are things that we got to think about:
Yes.
is how are we nurturing each other? And of course, we recognize that no one is perfect, and we're probably going to do things
Do
that
things.
rub each other the wrong way or frustrates us or hurt us. But are we creating an environment, because of the love we have, an environment that reconciles, that
Yes.
focuses on encouraging,
Project.
growing each other, nurturing each other? I've worked with many children who have a sense of, well, low self-esteem, number one, easily shamed, usually shy away from doing anything adventurous or just trying to go out there and be on their own because of ridicule that they would, and easy criticism that they would receive from
Receive.
home. And it's in the good name of, we got to train this child
Child.
right. So that's another topic for another
Another
day.
time.
But just taking into consideration of, when we say we love each other, how are we actually showing that love for each other?
And as the text highlighted, there we can show the love in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to point out when it comes to love is that love is fundamentally also creating a non-judgmental environment. So not only the being empathetic, not only empathizing with each other, creating that environment, we also need to create a non-judgmental environment, and how to nurture that non-judgmental
Mm-hmm.
context. So again, empathetic environment, non-judgmental environment. Two components of the environment that we need to pay keen attention to if we're going to understand how to love.
Mm-hmm.
And non-judgmental meaning that even when the person has done something wrong, I am not judging them for it.
Yeah.
I'm seeking more to understand than to judge. So
Mm-hmm.
make that distinction. Understanding needs to precede judgment,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes I even think of there's three words that comes to my mind, and we will work through them. This idea of insight, understanding, and judgment. And there are times when to get we don't seek to get insight,
Yes.
but we start to judge.
Mm.
So, and having insight into something gives us understanding. So again, insight sometimes leads to understanding. Understanding will negate judgment.
Mm-hmm.
No judgment. When I judge, I don't seek to understand. And if I'm not understanding, I can't get insight into what's going on with the other person. So
Mm-hmm.
understanding these three concepts and how they play in our lives as we seek to love.
So repeat that for us.
So again, we talk about empathetic environment
Yes.
that needs to be present in terms of how we love.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about a non-judgmental environment. And to deal with this non-judgmental environment, we have to deal with three things:
Mm-hmm.
insight, understanding,
Mm.
and our judgment. If something happened in the home between a parent-child relationship, or something happened between the spouses, if they don't seek insight to understand, they're going to judge. But if we seek the insight and we understand, is less likely that we're going to judge.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm in an environment in which I am being judged, we cannot love again.
Mm-hmm.
Because if within myself I feel like I'm being judged, it means that my, what we call our stress or cortisol system goes online.
Yeah.
And when the system is in a stressful state, you cannot have love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this explains a lot. So we have to brace ourselves to gain insight, going to the other person's world. Welcome, Theola. Theola is my sister. Welcome. Good to have you here. Um, so we're just talking about what love is in the family, what it looks like. And so we're learning that we have to first try to get into the other person's world, which is gaining insights. If we don't do that, we're going to misunderstand based
Yes.
on our own perception, and we're going to project that onto the person or people we're trying to communicate with. They realize that they're misunderstood and thus they're shut down. What happens there is the stress, their stress system activates. And we're going to be talking more about this for sure. How this shuts down couples. Stop talking for a long time.
Yes.
Long time. And kids get mixed up in that, and they're in the middle trying to communicate back in here. And, you know, teens shut down. They stay in their room all day. They don't want to talk to their parents because they feel misunderstood. The wall is up, and it takes a while to really work through this. And that's why I'm excited about our family transformation program, because these are the steps we actually show individuals, parents, couples, that they can do to break down these walls and get back to your restored family life, the way God wants it to be, the way that is healthy for you, for your system, for your spouse, and for your children. So we're so happy that you're joining us, and for those who are just joining us, let us know where you are joining from. We're actually closing off now. We're doing our conclusion basically, but we're very happy that you were able to join us. So, summarize. Can love be defined?
Well, it can be defined, or should I say described, in many ways. But again, one of the things we talked about was, in order for us to understand this idea of love, we'll take into consideration both the objective and the subjective realities of both persons or individuals within the context. And in doing that, we also have to create an environment. So how to love, that how to love is pivoted on the environment. And we highlighted two things that needs to be in any environment if love is going to thrive. If love is not, people talk about falling out of love, or I don't love anymore, and then there's a lot of debates around that. But the point I am making today is this: if we start by creating these two things, the how to love will come naturally. If we create an empathetic environment, an environment in which we are free to share, we are not bound, we are not fused, we are not so enmeshed that we can't talk and we're scared. So an environment in which we are free to share, that freedom. You cannot have love without freedom. The essence of God's love to us is that we are free to choose to love. So we create an empathetic environment that is built on the freedom to choose and to love and to connect with each other. Then we go to the second thing we talked about, was a non-judgmental environment. And this non-judgmental environment, again, is pivoted on understanding. Because if I don't, we talk about the three things. If I don't, to understand, I need to seek insight. Once I have insight, then that insight gives me understanding. And once I have understanding, I will choose not to judge. Oftentimes we judge because we don't have insight and we don't have understanding, so we sort of judge each other. But so again, if we deliberately choose to create an environment that is non-judgmental and an environment that is empathetic, that environment will seek to nurture and to be a catalyst for how to love. There are many more principles we can look at, or concepts we can look at in terms of how we nurture and create this environment. But for today, I think for today, those two, if we get those two going,
Yeah.
we can revolutionize
Yes.
our home life and revolutionize how things happen in our homes.
Yes. And I think this is just the last point I'll leave before we go. Just want to thank everyone for joining us. There is a prayer I heard, and I don't know word for word, but I'll just paraphrase. Basically, it's asking Jesus for his eyes and his ears and his heart. His eyes so he can see people, when they're hurting and be able to reach out to them. So he can hear, so we can hear people when they're hurting, understand them. For Jesus's heart, so when we see people hurting, or when we see what's happening in front of us, we won't judge, but we more meet the family or whoever we come in contact with compassion and love and forgiveness, and just having their best at heart.
Yes.
And I think, on top of everything we talked about so far, is we definitely need to nurture the love of Christ in our heart. Because if we don't do that, because he's the source of love, if we don't do that, we'll just be acting.
Yes.
And we'll be no different than the actors at Hollywood. So, guys, we want to hear from you. And we hope that you will share this video, or this session,
This
episode.
episode.
Join us if you want to continue the conversation. Join us in our secure community private Facebook group, Empowering Christian Families. And if you'd like to watch this video again and share it with others, you can find us at Dookies Institute, Sania and Courtney on YouTube. And you can also follow us on Instagram. We're very excited about
Yes.
this.
I am.
Yes. And we look forward to sharing with you again next week with another topic. If there's something that comes up you want us to talk about,
yes,
let us know. We want to.
That's important.
That's important for us. We want to add value to you. We value your time, and that's really our mission here, empowering Christian families. Take care, guys.
Bye.